Hello everyone! In this video I'm going to be coloring, and just that, I'm just coloring. In past videos where I am just coloring, I edited the video so that it goes by faster. In this video seems longer because I will not be fast forwarding the video. So in my past videos you might see how all of a sudden I'm picking up I'm coloring or drawing at a really fast speed, but it's because I changed the video. I edit the video so that it goes by faster. In this time, you're going to witness how I take my time and it takes time to make decisions. It takes time to go through the process. I'm selecting my colors and I'm getting them out of the crayon box. That way I don't get lost in what was I going to do, or I forgot what colors I was going to use. I'm also going to be using crayons over color pencils because they color so much quicker and they offer a very smooth surface. They are also more affordable. They are cheaper than color pencils, so I do prefer them. I do prefer to use them. I also like to test the colors that I want to use on the back of the paper. That way, any color combination that I am not so sure about using, I can always test it out on the back of the paper and see if the colors match, if they go well together, and then I can do it on the actual drawing. One of these rectangles I'm going to color using a crayon, and you will see how quicker it is for me to color. And it's because the tip is just so much wider and thicker, so that makes it so much faster for me to color. On the next square, I am showing you how I'm coloring using the flattest part of the color pencil, and it gave a really even surface versus using the tip of the color pencil, a very sharp color pencil that starts to give you scribbles as soon as you put it down on the paper. It's almost like it's stabbing the paper, or some lines, it's harder to control because some lines are darker than others. So again, I'm just going to use crayons. But of course, if you get really good at using color pencils or markers or paint, by all means, do that. Now, an important thing that I have to mention about learning how to use art supplies, different mediums, is that sooner or later you're going to have to make a mistake. And if mistakes happen, that's okay. And that's pretty much the only way that you are going to learn. In art students and artists and art teachers, we make mistakes all the time. We just get really good at, well, deciding which ones we want to keep. For example, on the sun, I'm coloring on the face of the sun, and that pencil began to smear. And you know what? I'm just going to let it do its thing. Sometimes that happens. You color on top of on top of pencils, and then they smear. Sometimes you cannot control them that well. And I am just going to move on and continue with my drawing. That's it. Sometimes that's what happens. Also, if you think that maybe you are not so good at using color pencils or paint, the only way that you are going to get better at it, or at them, is by doing it. Plain and simple. That's it. If you're not good at color pencils, do it. Just keep trying and try again and try again. I'm coloring the sky, and when I color the sky, I'm going to color all of the sky, not just one little tiny section at the top of the paper. I have to color everything in my drawing that I decided was going to be sky. And I'm going to color in the same direction. If I start coloring up and down, then I am going to continue going up and down, all throughout the paper until I finish that section. that whole block, that whole area. Yeah. Or if I start coloring sideways, then I am going to keep that evenly. I'm going to color evenly sideways throughout that whole area. That way I will not have a lot of scribbles, or it will not look so messy. So again, I'm trying to color as evenly as I can. And I want you to notice the technique that I'm using right now. I am not setting my hand down on the paper. I am actually using the whole arm whenever I am coloring. That way, my hand does not hurt as much. Maybe that has happened to you, that you are coloring with crayons or pencils and your hand just gets so tired. Maybe you have been writing for so long and you are so tired. So again, I am not putting my hand down on the paper like this and then coloring from there, from the table. No. I'm going to lift up my wrist and my arm. And I am going to use the whole arm to color. That's the whole action. It takes you a while to learn to color like that. And sometimes you really do have to put your wrist down on the paper and focus on more details, smaller details especially. But it does help for bigger areas if you use your whole arm. If you think about it, that's how painters do it. They don't put the wrist on top of the painting. They actually leave it hovering or floating above the painting or in front of the painting, but they cannot put it on top of the painting, like laying down on it, because then it would smear all the paint. So you can start applying some of those techniques that painters use so that your wrist does not hurt as much. I like to trace over everything that I drew with pencil, over those pencil outlines, so that I can limit the amount of smearing that happens. As you saw with the sun, if I don't really trace on top of the sun, then some of that pencil will be smearing. And I can limit some of that when I trace over it with either the colored pencil or a marker or a crayon. And it also makes it easier for me to be able to color inside of it. It's like an outline that I can follow. And then once you fill up that whole shape, then it's a little bit satisfying when you finally fill up that shape. I'm going to color the girl without tracing, and you are going to see how it's just going to look a little bit different. Now imagine if this was one of those funny videos where there would be a jump scare and I would just make a loud noise to scare you. But I won't do it. Now the drawing looks a little bit kind of okay. It looks okay. It looks good. But again, yeah, I prefer it when I trace around shapes and then I fill in the shapes with color. Now since the pencil is not really the pencil eyebrows, nose, smile and eyes are not really standing out that much anymore. It's almost like they are blending in with the light brown skin tone that I chose. I'm going to trace over them lightly with a crayon. And you'll notice it's not even a pointy crayon. It takes a while. And just remember, you will not be able to get a really sharp and pointy crayon. You just let that crayon behave like a crayon. It's just going to be wide, thick, and just kind of grainy and really rich in texture. And that's okay. That is fine by me. Now there's a lot of benefits to actually tracing or practicing your tracing. Sometimes you will be doing tracing when you are writing letters and you will trace over that letter, or you will trace over a shape and then color it in, fill it in with color. And it helps you in your sensory motor skills. What this means is your hand abilities, or your sometimes your body abilities to be able to control a pencil or to control a crayon. All of that takes effort. I mean, some of us were not, when we were little, when we were in kindergarten or younger, we were not able to hold a crayon, or we were not able to draw a straight line. But if you trace or if you keep practicing, you keep getting better and better at it. And I think that tracing does help in that sense, and that again, it helps you in controlling whatever tool you are holding in your hand. Now I'm going to pretend that the snowman borrowed that scarf from the little girl's house. Because let's face it, every time you are building a snowman and you are dressing him up, or at least in that drawing or in that painting that you are witnessing, maybe in a cartoon, you're watching a snowman and he's wearing a hat, he's wearing buttons, he's wearing a scarf. All of these items came from somebody's house. So that's what I'm going to do. Maybe that's her dad's scarf. And then after the snowman melts, then they are going to thoroughly wash that scarf. On the smile, I am going to just put uh, maybe rocks or buttons that are going to follow the outline of the smile. And then I can erase the pencil lines, and that's how that smile is going to end up looking. Still pretty rounded, like a smile, but without the pencil line behind it. When it comes down to tracing snow, I have seen people that use either black or blue to trace the snow. I mean, for the same reason that sometimes we will trace clouds with blue color, or water, we will trace that with blue, even though we know that water is supposed to be transparent and not have any color. We can do something like that too. Another idea would be to trace the snow using gray. I'm drawing kind of like really spread out ovals at the bottom of the snowman to kind of show that maybe he's melting already. The sun is out. This little girl played outdoors all day. She built her snowman, and now he's on his way to melting. You are welcome to copy that idea too. It's almost like drawing a puddle. So this is another way of drawing puddles. Kind of like really spread out ovals, really squashed down pancakes. I'm going to draw a path that sort of looks like it's coming down all the way from the mountains. And if you think about it, mountains are pretty much that, just rocks. Really big ones, but they are rocks, and so whatever color you might see a rock, that might be a mountain too. So rocks come in different colors, mountains can come in different colors as well. This comes in really handy when you are trying to make other drawings about other seasons or about any other thing. Because let's say that you already used a lot of brown and you don't want to use brown for the mountains. So then change it up and make that mountain gray, because there are gray rocks after all. Sometimes there are, sometimes when the sun is setting, the mountains can look as if they are purple or even blue. They can have some really crazy colors happening in there. And you, as the artist, you could be able to represent or put those colors down there as well. So again, sometimes you can have gray mountains, red mountains, orangey mountains. They can come in different colors. And if they are covered in pine trees and other plants, they are going to be green mountains. Here is a common mistake that I see. Sometimes we are too caught up in coloring everything the way that it's supposed to be or the right way, that we are not thinking about what color is the grass truly. Remember that in the winter season, you can't have really green grass unless it's plastic. Then okay, all right, fine. But if it's natural grass, most likely it's already drying up, especially in the winter season. It will come back and be mega dark green again in the spring and in the summer season. But for now, you can use instead a green yellow or a yellow green if you're using Crayola crayons. You can use any of those to show that there's some grass, but it's kind of drying out. this is the end of the video pretty much. I hope that you enjoyed seeing some of this the process, the whole thing from beginning to end. It takes some time to get good at coloring. It takes some time to get good at drawing. And so sometimes we have to take our time and use our time wisely without any distractions. I will see you next time. Take care, stay safe, goodbye.